Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of our Boss Talk. This is Season 2, Episode 4. Changed up a little bit today. Today we are doing first-in company operations, and we're taking a look at two recent incidents happened in the last couple months. We are just doing the first arriving officers from that station. So we have a fire that occurred in Company 32's area on the A shift, and we have the captain first here today to talk about first arriving company officer actions. And we had a fire that occurred in 23's area on the B shift, and we have the captain and lieutenant from 23B here to talk about their stuff. So what we don't have is the incident commander, and we're just taking a different approach in that, mixing this up as we go. Couple housekeeping things. So if you are a certified chief officer and you're watching and want to have COPDI credit, remember to log in now on the YouTube Live. Please put your fire department ID number first, followed by your name. And then at the end, when we're done, you have to log out doing the same thing, and Chief Thomas will assign credit that for COPDI. If you have questions as we go along, right, so folks who are logged in on YouTube Live, you have the ability to ask questions as we've done in the past, so please type those in. They may not be asked immediately, and of course some may duplicate, but we'll work through that, and Chief Thomas is the moderator today. He will be the fellow that asks those questions to the panel. Want to touch on Lorraine Avenue, right, we had talked follow-up on Lorraine. We're still waiting on that final report to be released, and then we're going to come back and kind of close out the Lorraine Avenue. We may take a little different approach in that with a new program that we're kind of talking about. It's not finalized yet, so that might be how we close out Lorraine. Stand by on that. All right, so COLA's going on. Some of you may have some folks in COLA. COLA's taken a different shape this year because of the pandemic, and everything is virtual. And I know they've been doing some pretty cool stuff there. One of the things they're doing is some incident stuff. So I think we're going to give a shot at something like that, but I want to just kind of prompt that. So in a moment, I'm going to ask the fellows to show you a photo, right? Everybody looks at stuff on the internet. I want you to take a look at the photo, not yet. Take a look at the photo. Think about you are the first arriving company officer, right? What are you doing? What are your actions? What are your concerns? And there's nobody else with you, right? You're showing up on an engine by itself. We do have these kind of structures in the older parts of our communities. Think about it. We may talk about this in the next episode. I'll show you more pictures. So give me the first shot. Put it up for about 30 seconds. You are the first arriving company officer. We'll make it 0:30 hours, right? 12:30. Middle of the night, first arriving, you got no info. That's what you see on your approach. More to follow with this on probably another episode of Boss Talk, but this is the kind of stuff they're doing in COLA, and we think it's it is good stuff, and we want to move forward with this. So this is your shot. First arriving, what are you doing? What are you worried about? What actions you taking? And how does our IRP relate to that? So that's it for me. I want to turn it over to our panel. Captain Brady Miller, he'll introduce the folks, talk about the incidents as they occurred. Folks chime in with any questions, and we'll go from there. That's it. Captain Miller.
Chief Davis, thank you. Here we are back from the training school on this beautiful day. And to my right is Captain First, Station 32 on the A shift. To my left is Captain Kenna, 23B, and next to him is Lieutenant Ransom, 23B as well. We are, like Chief Davis said, we're going to talk about two different fires, one on Braxfield Court, which is in the Park Lawn area of Company 23, and the other is Sterling Terrace, which is the Diamondback area of Station 32. So we will start with 23's fire. It was what time was it? It was in the middle of the afternoon, right? Lunchtime?
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. And let's listen to the dispatch like we generally do, and we'll kind of stop it at a point and go from there.
Until 30 Braxfield Court, Terrace Street, Braxfield Court. So the apartment, for the fire in apartment number 12, box area, 23-7. 12,000 until 30 Braxfield Court, Terrace Street, Braxfield Court. For the fire in apartment number 12, engine companies 23, 21, 18, 26, 5, Tower 723, Tower 718, Rescue Squad 742 Bravo, Ambulance 721, Battalion 702, Battalion 703, operate on 7 Charlie, box area 23-7.
Paramedic engine 723, Battalion 702. Be advised, we're going to drop the rig. We're getting multiple calls on this.
All right, so we're just going to stop it. We're going to stop it right there. And I am going to immediately go to Captain Kenna and kind of walk me through your thought process from the lunch table or at the firehouse to here we are. We're on our way. They've told you that, we kind of heard the rapid intervention dispatch. Tell me what you're thinking, what you know about the complex. Walk me through your thought process.
Okay. First, I'll start out with my expectations of my crew. We train, so my line people know they're responsible for pulling the correct line and being at the front door. So when I'm done my other duties, we're ready to go. Going down the road, I know the complex. This happens to be one of the buildings that has a walkway or a gangway. I'm not exactly sure the terminology. It's about 5 foot wide, 40 feet long, and actually enters the apartment complex, the building on the 3rd floor.
So by gangway, you mean the topography of the building, the front side of the building, you got to cross a bridge to get into the building?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
No problem. So I know it's an apartment complex. It's COVID, so I'm thinking we got people who are working from home, and we may have kids who are in school home alone. Those things are going through my mind, so I know we need to get that building evacuated quickly.
Okay. Both units from Station 23 in quarters?
No. I was only the engine was in quarters. The tower was on a lift assist.
Okay. So does that, having multiple units like that, does that change any of your initial thought process as far as positioning and things like that?
Usually
I'm asking, I don't have a
So the
truck
lieutenant and I
company.
normally try to work out nosing into each other the best we can. So he may have to go around the block, or we may have to go around the block to get that hydrant closest and be able to nose into each other. And that was my thought process on this call.
Did you communicate with the firefighters in the back of the engine at all
No.
on your way to the call?
Nope, they know not to communicate unless there's something important. It's important for the driver and I can communicate what's going on and listening to the radio.
Okay. And Lieutenant, I'm going to ask you the same question. You were on a lift assist. Had you cleared the lift assist, or were you?
Well, the weird thing was I was in the process of clearing, hit AOR when they were dispatching, but I hadn't switched over to Alpha yet. So when I was switching over to Alpha, they had already dispatched it. So the way I knew that there was a box is it popped up on MDC. So
Okay.
right away I was like, we had a box, and I knew where it was at. And I was on not the exact other side of our area, but about as far away as you can get and still
Okay.
be first due.
Okay. And the second truck would have been who? Tower 18?
It normally would have been Tower 3, but Tower 3 had a personnel issue and they were delayed as well.
Okay.
So we had a unique situation. So I believe 18 was we were still dispatched as first.
Okay.
So 18, I believe, was going to be close, and I thought Tower 3 was still coming, so I radioed ahead and said, hey, give you a heads up, we're on the other side of our area, something to that effect. We're going to be delayed. You might get first.
Okay.
And so I had to plan for
has
both.
discussion with people in the back of or the person in the back of the tower?
Just like the captain said, we've worked together a very, very long time, so we have a really close relationship, and we goof around a lot, but I understand his expectations and his tactics, and a lot of times we have tactical discussions in the station where we don't necessarily always agree, but when we go on a fire ground, I'm lockstep with him. If he wants to do it that way, that's the way we're doing it. And so I understand where he wants me and where I'm supposed to take the rig. It just goes the same with the crew. My drivers know where I want the rig to go or where I want to try to put the rig. And then my third, he normally lets me have a little bit of carte blanche picking the thirds. My third knows that there's times when he or she's going to have to operate on their, I don't want to say on their own, but with a little less direct supervision than an average Fire 2 or Fire 3.
Okay. Captain, you want to add anything before we listen to our on scene in the first couple of minutes of the call?
So with us trying to nose in, I picked a hydrant. I misread the map.
Do we have the map? Go, continue.
So my plan was to take that hydrant, make a U-turn, and come back and take the building on the other side of Braxfield there. Once we pulled up, realized it was a different building, so called an audible, and everybody played off that.
Okay. Okay. So it wasn't, which one, the box map, I guess, is the map on the left? The 11A?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and listen to Charlie and the first couple of minutes of the event.
Paramedic engine 723, battalion 702. Be advised, we're going to drop the rig. We're getting multiple calls on this. 23's okay.
On. Currently at the hydrant there at the circle corner of 12,215.
Copy, 12,215.
Tower 23 at 3. You might be first still. I'm coming up from the other side of our area.
Paramedic engine 723 at this time. We're receiving reports. Fire showing from the balcony on the 3rd floor. Caller is also advising people are trying to put the fire out. Unknown on occupant status at this time. That's all we have.
23 to 21, switch up. You'll see us when you come in. Paramedic in 723 is on location. 4-story guard department. Dark smart showing. Department's being evacuated.
On the scene, paramedic engine 723.
At 23. I know you're busy. Just want to confirm. Are you taking the hydrant in front now at 2 or 3?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, paramedic engine 723. I confirm you're on the scene. 4-story guard department. Fire and smoke showing. We've already started the rig.
Tower 723, 4 stories in the rear, fire showing from the 3rd floor in the rear, 3rd floor in the rear, fire showing. Paramedic engine 718, my water supply, pick it up at the corner of Park Lawn and Braxfield. Park Lawn and Braxfield, I got you. Paramedic engine 721. We got smoke apartment 16. That's copy 1-6. 23's getting ready to enter right now the line. 21's backing them up.
Right, T705 Bravo's on the scene on Braxfield. Side out in my budget. T705 Bravo to 21's engine. Are you first on there? Have you established command?
All you need to do is open has been established. We're first line, we're going to open the fire with time.
I copy. T705 Bravo, Montgomery. I'll go ahead and establish command. My buggy, side out on Braxfield.
Paramedic is 721 to command. 23 has a line on the fire. They got a little knock right now. So we need a line below us to check the floor below.
Can we pause it right there?
Floor below.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the engine company. So we arrive on the scene. You have a 4-story garden apartment fire showing from floor 3. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so tell me about the topography thing. Explain this bridge when you come into the structure.
Okay, so
I'm a little confused.
from the alpha side, it's 2 stories. You walk across the bridge and a half a story stairs to the apartments on the 3rd story.
Okay.
It's 40 feet long, 5 feet wide bridge.
So from the court, from the parking area in the front, you see 2 stories? So 2 above and 2 below, essentially.
Correct.
Because of topography.
Correct.
And so the fire that you see is on the top floor or on the on the 3rd floor?
3rd floor.
So there's a potentially occupied floor above.
Correct.
Okay, so we took our hand line. What kind of hand line did you pick?
It's 1.5 inch, 300 foot.
Okay.
We pulled into Academy Way to allow the tower to pass by. The line came off the back, straight off the back, over to the gangway, and then my crews were ready to go. Saw the fire from the 3rd floor. By the time I made it around, there was people evacuating.
Around?
Back around to the Alpha side.
Okay.
The crew was ready to go. People were evacuating, so I was maneuvering around them and the 2nd Duke crew. Another officer was ahead of me, advised where the smoke was, I believe, from one of the citizens. So they went ahead and made their way to apartment 16. I was behind them. As soon as we made entry into the apartment, the slider broke and the curtains ignited. The lineman hit the fire, knocked it down, realized immediately that it was lapping up over top, knew the fire was below us. Knew that was a bad situation, so we went ahead and started to redeploy it back downstairs.
Okay. So apartment 16, I'm sorry. So there were 4 apartments per floor, 1 through 4.
Correct.
5 through 8, 9 through 12, and 13 through 16? Okay. And their calling apartment was 12?
Correct.
Okay. And you guys went up?
Correct.
Okay.
There was a lot of things going on, and I didn't get a chance to get all the information from my SIR report, and decisions were made before I got command established, and we just went with it, and everyone played off of that.
Were you able to talk to anybody in front of the structure to verify or confirm or try to gain occupant status?
So the apartment, they were smoking, set the apartment on fire. They were out from that apartment.
So you did make contact with at least a resident?
Correct.
In the original calling party, or?
From that apartment,
Okay.
from 12.
So you took your hand line across the bridge and up the steps we went?
Yep.
And there was fire in that apartment?
So we bypassed that. The other officer was advised apartment 16, so we went to 16.
Okay.
So I trusted the other officer, so we went with it.
Okay.
Once we made a knock and realized that it was below us, again, called an audible and went downstairs.
And you repositioned your line at that point?
Correct. So 18 radioed that they were going to go there, and my crew knew if they went down and they were there, we were coming back up, going back to 16. We got down to apartment 12. They were not there yet, so I believe Tower 18 was able to force the door, and we went right in. And it was hoarding conditions, and there was an added bedroom to the apartment, so it was a little challenging, but it was about 65% involved, and
The apartment was?
Correct. And the great job by the nozzleman put the whole apartment out with about 150 gallons of water.
Good, good, good. Tower, Lieutenant, tell me where you kind of came into the story.
So they dropped a dispatch on us. We were already in the rig without gear on, which was a challenge, and on the opposite side. So I radioed 3, told them that we were going to be delayed possibly, but we'll see when we get there. So as we were going down the road, I kind of formulated 2 plans, one for if we were second due truck and one for if we were first due truck. And I told the driver, everybody who's worked with me knows I talk a lot. So I told the driver en route, these are the 2 different options we're going to. You know where we're going, we know the building. And he said, yeah. I said, if we pull in and truck 3's there, then we're going to do this. And if we pull in and truck 3's not there, we're going to do this.
Is there Charlie access to the structure?
There is not Charlie, there is not Alpha. There is no parking lot in front of it. It sits to, like the captain was describing, it sits in a basin basically. And about 20 feet down is where the foundation is, and it build up from there. And the walkway goes across. So the problem is you have a very, very limited access. Really the only good aerial access is on the Bravo side, which is about maybe...
we're looking at it now.
Yeah, about maybe a 30-foot wide section of wall that between trees, because there's also lots of trees there. So you can't get anything other than ground ladders in there. So I knew ladders were going to be an issue. So my primary concern was with these types of buildings, and in my experience in the county, is we either stop it quick or we go to an extended operation. So I was like, somebody has to get a good aerial position. So the first due has to get a good aerial. So when we pulled up, I told my driver, forego ladders, and I know it's like a default to throw ground ladders. I said, forego throwing ground ladders, get the aerial to the roof as quick as possible.
Did the topography of this building prevent the ground ladder usage?
Yes, on Alpha. Charlie, I'll give a shout out to them. Truck 3 did a heck of a good job. They parked out and ran their ladders hundreds of yards to get the side Charlie ladder nice and pretty. Alpha side, you probably had maybe 3 spots where you could throw anything smaller than a 35. So you would need Bangor ladders to reach the top. So it's very challenging. And even the ones where you could put them on the landings, it's sketchy. You would do it for rescue, but the risk assessment for a non-rescue event, it would be questionable.
Which floor did you go to?
I went to, when I sent my third ahead to pop the door for the engine, because like the IRP says, the primary job of us is egress and ingress, search and rescue, ventilation, and ladders. So I know that building can be challenging, and I know you guys did a thing about the Israeli doors and everything. Now they don't have it, but I know those doors they're not going to give up the ghost easily, so I needed to get the line in. So I told my third, go ahead, pop the door.
Where's the rescue squad coming from?
It was Terrell.
Three's rescue squad?
No, it was Rescue 2.
Okay.
Took me a minute to think about it.
So potential delay of rescue squad.
Yeah.
Occupied building, we may have to bump up the
Yes.
search.
So I figured, and I ended up starting a primary. But so my third, I told him, go ahead, pop the door, and then wait for me. And I would meet up with him, and we would start
And
searching.
which door was this? To
He
12 or
he
6?
went with our line. So
Okay.
he went up to the top floor. He married up with our lineman.
Okay.
And then he followed our line and that other officer up to the top floor, popped their apartment door that they thought was the fire floor. When I did the side Charlie report, I came around, made sure my driver was good, went across the gangway, went to the fire apartment. As I was walking in, 18's tower was there. Fox popped the door to the fire apartment and controlled it. And then I masked up, and just then 23's line came down, and I asked Lieutenant Branch, he was on 18's tower. I asked him to pop the other 3 doors on the floor, and they did a good job on that. And I had them search all the 3 neighboring apartments to make sure they were occupied.
Searches proved negative on the fire floor?
All negative.
Floor above?
All negative on floor above
Good.
as well. And then we went in and started searching and overhauling. I married up with a captain in there.
Okay. I'm going to pause you just for a second. I believe we have a question. Chief Thomas?
All right, looks like we have a couple questions. Did 23's engine have 3 or 4 people on it?
Good question.
There's 4 people.
4 people, all right. Second question, at what point did the engine or tower officer realize an illegal or modified bedroom in the apartment? I guess that's apartment 12. And did that hinder the fire attack operations?
So let's add to that question, actually. Let's address all of the hoarding conditions, and did that change any of your actions? And how did you actually convey that information on the radio? Did you just use the term hoarding?
Another officer was able to
Okay.
say hoarding.
Okay.
We've been in those apartments. They're usually come in the front door, L-shaped, living room, dining room, kitchen, and the bedrooms are in the back. Came in the front door, a lot of clutter, bedroom right in the living room. So there was no living room.
So the modified bedroom that they're speaking of was the old living room. They just changed it to a bedroom.
Correct.
And as far as the hoarding goes, could you move through the apartment, or were you climbing over
We
stuff?
climbed over stuff.
Okay.
Mine was able to get in far enough to open up the nozzle to knock down the fire and continued pushing in, and we all pushed in behind him.
Okay.
I ended up going to the bedroom, started the search. The lieutenant came in behind me. He took over the search, and then I followed back over to guide the crews.
Okay. Did you want to add anything, Lieutenant? I'm sorry.
No. You're good.
Chief, any more questions? Okay, so we are now going to move to, and we'll come back. We're going to now move to the Sterling Terrace. Let's listen to the dispatch for Sterling Terrace.
Is to operate on 7 Charlie. For to be across from 10,134 Sterling Terrace, Cross Street, Sterling Court, house fire. Port of flames from the window, box area 32.5. Units to operate 7 Charlie. 10,137 Sterling Terrace, Cross Street, Sterling Court, house fire. Port of flames from the window. Engine company is 323183. 3 Bravo.
Truck 731 for Tower 708, Rescue Squad 703, Medic 731, Battalion 703, Battalion 705. Operator on 7 Charlie, Box area 325, 2324.
10 units responding. The correct address is 10,137 Sterling Terrace. Engine 732. Report of a townhouse on fire, as well as a vehicle on fire in the garage. Call over, believes everyone's out of the house. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's stop it there.
Based on the call information, we're going to go through it.
I didn't copy your message, Montgomery. What'd you say?
Based on the caller information, we're going to drop the rig.
Okay. Captain, so same question that I posed to them. Tell me, now your fire is at what time?
About 11:30 at night.
So it's 11:30 at night. How many
Yeah.
people are on your fire truck? And I like that question, so I'm going to add it.
No, my medic was at the hospital. They had upgraded. We had most of it. Yeah, we were all in bed. 3 beeps. The pre-alert went out. I got up. I was in the engine bay when they started putting out the address, and my driver got up as well. And E3, he didn't get up until the.
Station alerting.
Yep. Yeah. There we go.
I got you.
Yep. So hopping in, looking at the comments, going down the road. I know we got work.
Do you communicate? So did you have any discussion with the person in the back?
No. We basically, when we're going to a box alarm, I'm looking at the comments and, with the time of day and looking at the remarks and stuff, I'm just trying to figure out, if we've got a fire or not. And
you're pretty sure on this one. You got a fire.
This one's on fire, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just, communicating that to them. I know that my E3 is trying to make up time getting dressed with a seatbelt on. So, I'm not communicating a lot.
Okay. So let's, and have you been to these buildings? I mean, you know where they're at? You know how they're laid out?
So we're very familiar with Sterling Terrace. I know that I need to be on my game on top of the box map in here because you can get turned around pretty quick. We've run adaptives in there. We've run EMS calls. So we're familiar with where it is.
Okay. And is there any delay with units getting there, like your trucks or your towers from 3 or from 31? Is it, are you going to be operating for a while by yourself there?
So right where that is, if you go to the right, 8's first due. If you go to the left, 31's going to be first due. So
it's right where you all meet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that time of night and with the potential of units being a little I don't want to say delayed, but getting there after you, does it change any of your thought process as far as occupants and getting inside and searching for them prior to you getting there?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I have game plans in my head. I have game plans for, when my garden apartments off a school drive go, how my ambulance crew is going to help me.
Was your ambulance crew in quarters?
They weren't, yeah.
So you're by yourself. It's you and...
And so, really, I hadn't had a game plan where it was just me and my E3.
Okay.
So.
Do you now?
I sure do.
Good. Okay, so let's listen to Charlie.
Port of flames from the window. Engine company's 32, 31, 8, 3 Bravo. Truck 731 for Tower 708, Rescue Squad 703, Medic 731, Battalion 703, Battalion 705. Operator on 7 Charlie, Box area 325, 2324.
10 units responding. The correct address is 10,137 Sterling Terrace. Engine 732. Report of a townhouse on fire, as well as a vehicle on fire in the garage. Call over, believes everyone's out of the house. Okay.
Thank you so much.
We're going to engine 732. Based on the call information, we're going to drop the rig.
I didn't copy your message, Montgomery. What'd you say?
Based on the caller information, we're going to drop the rig.
Okay. 32 to 31. I'm going to be laying out from 10,148. Copy.
10,148, correct.
8 to 3.
We're going to come around the backside and get the hydrant at 10148 Sterling Terrace. 31 will third due. I believe 32 already called that hydrant out. Same, 732. On team 1073.
Paramedic, I just 732, confirming the address. I got a 3-story middle of the road townhouse. I got heavy fire coming from the garage from the lowest level, extended into the second floor. Third due engine, I need you to complete my 350. I'm working on getting status of occupants right now.
Can we pause it? So, and you can back the audio up 3 or 4 seconds because there was an occupant statement in there, but we'll get that in a minute. So we're on the scene. It's 11:30 at night. You have middle of the road townhouse, fire in the garage and driveway, or just in the garage?
Yeah, fire in the garage, and the car outside of the driveway was also on fire.
Okay, and floor number 2?
Floor number 2, from what I could see, that's where it had extended up into. There were some bay windows.
Could we put the picture of the unburned picture? Or that one? How about the one from the daylight? There we go.
So that's actually not the same exact model of townhome. The one that we had didn't have dormer windows. It was a little more recessed. And on the second floor, which the floor right above the garage, had a big bay window.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then we saw a brief picture of the fire. So here you are, you're faced with a huge decision, right? Kind of talk to me about that.
Okay, so going down the road, Montgomery had talked about occupant status, and they believe everyone's out. I realize when people are stressed, they don't give the best information. So to me, until I see the occupants or have credible information on scene, that information they're giving me is going to weigh into my risk assessment, but I still need concrete information. When we stopped, when we were coming in down the road, there was a minivan just parked in the middle of the street. Door was open, but there was nobody to drive it out of the way. So we were about to move it ourselves. And then a woman came and hopped in the minivan. Instead of blowing the air horn, probably should have thought, a half second to find out if she was an occupant, but we were just, trying to get there. As we're pulling up, the tires are going, the fuel tank's rupturing, that your typical car fire sounds. So I think because of that, it was a ghost town. There was nobody standing outside. There was no neighbors or anybody visible.
Nobody for you to check.
Nobody for me to talk to.
Hey, who lives here?
Right,
Is
nothing.
Everybody...
Nothing. Not what I was expecting.
Okay. And you chose to do what with your line?
Your
initial thoughts?
I just hollered cross-leg. My initial thought was, this looks really impressive, but we're going to put some water on this. We're going to knock down, because most of this is exterior, and we're going to take a line inside. Looking at the bay window, I was pretty certain that it had extended into the first floor. So that was my thought process. But again, this looks really good. We're going to be able to do a quick knock, take our line into the first floor, and start working our way up.
Okay. We can finish out a couple more minutes of radio.
Third due engine, I need you to complete my 350. I'm working on getting status of occupants right now. Myself and my crew of 2 will be extinguishing. The visible exterior fire, and to be making entry into the first floor. I'll have tactical command. Engine 732 will be my 2 out.
8 to third due. We got here second. You need to go in the way your truck did and complete second water supply. We're completing first due's water supply. We got here second. Dude, you come in 3 stories on the rear. Heavy smoke. Getting ready to Okay, copy. All right, Battalion 7 is reading the scene. I've taken everything I got, everything Engine 732 said. I'll be assuming command in my vehicle across from the fire building. Engine 732, I was correct on you. Go ahead, knock all visible fire out and take your line in and be on Division 1 once you get inside. Acknowledge.
All right, we can stop, and we'll just kind of discuss a little bit. So you only had 2 people. Did your initial plan work like you thought it was going to work?
No. So again, I was expecting to be able to knock everything quick. I didn't realize that the fuel load in the garage was going to give us such trouble. And I don't know if I just didn't process that there was a car on fire in the garage, even though Montgomery had told me. And I was thinking the car that was on fire was the one parked outside of the garage. I'm not sure.
Was it on fire also?
Yes.
Okay.
But I was not, like, my plan was we're going to knock this. It's going to be quick. Looks good. We're going to knock it, but we're going to be able to get inside rather quick.
Yeah, move in and try to find some people maybe.
Or at least knock it back to the point where I'd be comfortable with leaving it with someone else having it in check.
So I heard 8 and 31 go back, I guess 8 assumed second due? Is that?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
8 got there second.
Okay. And then they saw what you were doing and took their line to the first floor?
I believe so. I was back down in the garage at this point.
Okay. And what can I ask? You said you pulled what kind of line?
The cross lay, the 1.5 inches.
Okay. Did that work for you?
So it did. I mean, so my E3 Mazda, he did a heck of a job.
Okay.
He knocked a ton of fire. He extinguished the car in the driveway, started extinguishing the exterior, and started working on the garage. I was anticipating again still that we're moving into the first floor, so I went to once I was able to see where the front door was, because at this point with him knocking the fire, it had so much smoke I couldn't. There's a picture too. Trying to figure out what door is the front door. So once I went to that door, found that it was partially opened, I popped inside there, took a look to see what kind of conditions we'd be dealing with.
And what were the conditions on the first floor?
So moderate to no visibility, not much fire, just a little bit of heat on that delta exposure.
And it was coming from out of the garage, like auto extending into the first floor? Or?
No, probably in a little bit from the bay window area, but I expected to have heavier fire conditions on that floor, but I didn't. How
long into the event was it that crews figured out that the structure was vacant, or not vacant, I'm sorry, unoccupied?
So when I came back down, I talked to Truck 731's officer. We did a quick face-to-face, and I said, look, I don't have good occupant status yet. I don't know where anybody is. And I don't know if there was some backdoor information that was going on between other crews, and but we didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So he went in with his crew, and they started searching the first floor. That was when I went back down to the steps to hook up with my E3, and then realized that we've got a heck of a garage fire that's not going out very easily, and so my plan's going to change.
Okay. And that change just entailed you staying in the garage and 8 moving to the first floor and potentially second floor.
Yeah, 31 assisted us. 31 put a lot of fire out, too. They, got up to the ridge vent and made a good stop with the fire that was in the attic from the exterior. And 8 did what I intended to do had I been able to knock the fire in the garage quicker.
Okay. I can slide back and forth, right? Okay, so thank you. And we will certainly come back and we're just going to kind of round table all now. Captain, I'm going to ask you first. Have you been to a fire like this before? Meaning, and what I'm saying is, in a building like this, same kind of day, same kind of topography? Like, were your decisions based on anything that you'd been? It sounds a lot like Twin Brook, and I was on Twin Brook with you. That's why I'm asking.
Yes. That same comment was brought up between our crews. So, no. Not having to go across a gangway. That was different. Have been in this type of building before. Have been in hoarding conditions. Had not run into a structure, the bedroom, where it was.
Like a modified
Modified bedroom, yes. But
was it? Did you identify that right away, or was there too much stuff? Was that kind of an after? Hey, oh my God, here's a bedroom in this apartment.
As soon as I got in and I went to go to the left, I ran into, I think it was a bookcase and then the wall, and followed around to it was basically a closet door. It wasn't even really a bedroom door, which was burnt off and into the bedroom.
Okay. Lieutenant, and you?
Yeah, I would say that we talked about it, and it was eerily similar to Twin Brook. And one of the things that I think that we should make sure our guys and girls know is that the nozzleman made a comment to me. Matt Johnson was on the nozzle and was Zaya, and he made a comment that he had heat, but he didn't have any fire. And I think we all take for granted. A lot of us we've all been in a fair amount of fires, so we get more experience. But we don't tell the younger people that if you have high heat and no fire, then the fire's below you. Common sense stuff like that. So we talk about weird stuff like that. Like if you have lots of smoke and no fire, then the fire could be in the basement traveling through the HVAC. And all the weird building characteristics can occur. And he realized that after he hit the little bit of fire that was on the porch that was lapping from the bottom floor over, he said there's a lot of heat, but there's no fire. And that's what Captain Dutcher experienced at
So when you were in 16, did you guys end up going back to the hoarder was in 12, correct?
The hoarder was in 12.
So did you guys come down the steps and you went in there?
Correct.
Yeah, he put both fires out.
Okay. And heat conditions, fire and heat in that?
So we were lucky. It was one of those days where it was gusting from 20 to 40 miles an hour, and it was blowing in the right direction. So when the door opened, it all went out the slider.
Who opened the slider? Did it fail, or did somebody open
failed.
it?
It failed on both apartments.
Okay.
When we pulled up on the tower, not to jump in, on Side Charlie, when I gave the Side Charlie report of heavy fire, it's a 10 by 10 opening basically for each of those apartments, and it was ceiling to wall, floor to ceiling fire coming out.
Through the slider space?
Yeah, through the slider space, the entire 10-foot opening, and it was burning the tree that was about 6 feet from the back of the building.
So
it
the
was
fire
coming out
department,
and coming out.
the fire department didn't create this flow path.
Oh no, it was
failed.
definitely because the wind was blowing from Alpha to Charlie, and then if the wind, we discussed that too. If the wind had been blowing from Charlie to Alpha in the building, we'd have roasted that building up. We'd have had a very,
Okay.
we'd still be there probably.
Did we have a hand line in place when we made access to the
Yes.
apartment number 12?
They were coming
Correct.
down the stairs, and and I'll give credit to 18 because their third was the guy that popped it. I was there, and he when he popped it, he didn't just pop it. Another fireman thing, he popped it and controlled it. He didn't just pop it and jam out to the next door. He popped it, pulled it back closed so that we could stand by.
Put a hand line in
Yeah,
place.
and you could watch the smoke come out and then puff back in when it popped.
Okay. And yes,
All right, I've got 3 questions.
Chief Thomas has a question. I'm sorry.
All right, the first question. Did the sprinklers make any impact on the fire on the second floor? I guess that's for you, Christy, for the Sterling Terrace.
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't see any sprinkler heads activated. I would assume that they would be sprinklered.
Those are new enough to have sprinklers in
Like 1990-ish, lightweight construction, brick facade. Yeah, I don't know if they're sprinklered, but I don't remember seeing any sprinkler heads activated. I think because the majority of the fire went up and in through the attic, I think that's why you didn't have fully involved floors.
Okay. All right, the second question is for you as well. Were you calling the garage level the first floor?
And this is something that I should have helped do. I should have helped designate those levels to the chief a little bit better. I tried to be descriptive when I gave my on-scene report to kind of set the tone on that, but he assigned me as Division I supervisor, and at the time I was thinking, okay, I a lot of times assume that the chief can see what's going on, and his view was completely blocked out by the ladder truck. So he thought I was in the first floor when I was still in the garage when he gave me that assignment. Did that answer the question?
Okay, yeah.
Was there occupiable space on the ground level?
Yeah, so the alpha and bravo, or the alpha and delta quadrants of the garage level were the garage. And then your bravo and Charlie quadrants are like a finished basement area.
Okay, living room or family room.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the last question is for both captains. Do you feel like command in the tactical mode was effective for the operations?
Captain first, you go first.
I mean, I literally had command for maybe 20 seconds because my battalion chief is coming right, behind me where I work. But had it been prolonged, absolutely not. I got way too much stuff to do. I didn't even think about the occupants and the exposures, I can tell you that. I was focused on occupants in the fire building, but the thought of the occupants and the exposures didn't even cross my mind.
I was lucky I had a command officer on the scene pretty quickly also. Mine was not effective because I did not get a chance to get my SERV report out in my plan. Firefighters are aggressive, so we just played off of it. Maybe if I would have pulled people back a little bit, just get 10 more seconds, put people in the right place, it might have went smoother, but it went well anyway.
Okay. Chief Davis, did you have a... Okay. Captain, so I asked these two about being in a fire. Have you been to this fire before, essentially?
Yes.
Okay.
And so,
Can you describe that?
I think a lot of times you just draw on previous experiences,
Certainly.
and I think when you roll up, you do it subconsciously. So when I'm giving my SIR, I am reflecting back to the last garage fire that I ran, where started in the garage, took my line to the attic, did not communicate that to command, and the incident after action report came out, and that was one of the recommendations. So that was something I was mindful of, trying to give my step 1 and step 2 so I could get to work. I've been on fires where it looks impressive, more so, your vinyl siding.
Yeah.
And I'm confident in what water does. And I underestimated the fuel load coming out of the garage.
No,
basically.
I don't. You made a split-second decision,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Fast water.
Yep.
So, back over to Braxfield. So, if you, Lieutenant, and I'll start with you, if you were to do anything different, what would it be? Would you do anything different? And it's okay to say no, but
Yeah, for the I don't. It sounds arrogant if you say you think you did everything right. There's always room for improvement. Ideally, I could have been faster switching over when we first got it, because I could have waited for I hate waiting for MDCs or hating for a station alert and that type of thing. I'd much rather be faster. There was a little bit more confusion than I like with my crew. When we pulled up, I thought the building was the other building too. The captain kind of blew through it, but on the map, I went off of our maps are color-coded, and there's another building that's 12203 Academy Way, which is right next to 12203 Braxfield, and I was thinking it was that building as well, and I had my plans all set up for that. Well, when we went to go turn in on Braxfield, there's the building with smoke rolling over the roof of it. And I'm like, well, that's a different building than the one we were dispatched to. So that's cool. We'll just make it up as we go along. This is what we're going to do, because I'd already planned for that building too. So hindsight 2020, I'd much rather have identified the building faster and better. I would have, I don't know. Other than that, ideally, and we talked about it before, ideally it's not being a dead horse, there's nothing we can do about it. I would prefer to have more people, 3 people on the special service and 2 on the truck, effectively 2. The minute I told my driver to worry about the aerial, I took another person away. So now I have to force entry in a building that has 4 times 4 is 16 occupancies, a minimum average, probably 3 people per occupancy. This is the weird stuff I think about, and you're talking about 90 some
Certainly
people.
a task list that
Yeah,
exceeds your
you got 90 people living in this
capability.
building, and I saw the fire blowing out of it, so I know I don't think that you need to declare a 2 out for that type of building. You have a known rescue. Or unknown occupant status at any time of day there. Somebody's a shift worker sleeping. So if you're asking for me to force entry and rescue and throw ladders and find people and check 16 apartments.
Certainly difficult, but
yeah. But there's nothing you can
doable.
do about it.
Yeah, correct.
So other than that, just be faster. Always want to be faster.
Captain?
Like I said, I would take command, try to take that 10 seconds, put people in the best spots. Luckily, I have good firefighters and good officers around. Everyone played off each other great. May not sound so good on the radio, but
What has the discussion been with your company about that topic?
Slowing down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm just asking.
So, I talk about it all the time. I've been on many fires, and luckily I've slowed down, took in the big picture, slowed myself down, which cuts out the tunnel vision, and I've seemed to put myself in the right place a lot of times, such as Twin Brook. Those guys fell through. Luckily, we were putting water in there. So that discussion is, hey, I'd rather have people who was aggressive and I have to pull them back than me putting a boot in their butt to push them forward. We can always adapt and overcome. But if I got to push you to get there, then we're behind the 8 ball.
Okay.
And so we're not going to be able to recover from
What
that.
about change on this event? That cut you off, I apologize. But
So just that, and make sure everyone just stays flexible, and everyone was.
okay. Captain, can I ask the same question to you? If you were to run this event this evening, you're working today,
Yeah.
you're going to a fire tonight,
So
hopefully.
So I'm still having my E3, pull it cross lay. Multiple areas need to be knocked, but myself, I'm going to grab a bigger line and just start working it.
Bigger volume. You want more water.
Yeah, like I grab the 2.5 or,
Okay. Versus the maneuverability that you originally
Well,
opted
I'm
for?
still opting for my maneuverability because that's how I'm programmed and that's how I'm going to stay.
Okay.
Rapid, fire attack, speed and mobility. I want that. And so he's going to continue to do that. But, I can put a bigger knock with some more water too. So
you mentioned earlier that you only had 2 people in the fire truck.
yeah, that's very
So
common for us.
Welcome to the show, right?
Right. I mean, I wish it wasn't. I could have used my
I
medic
get it.
that night.
So I guess and I'm not questioning you. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to establish a train of thought. Even with the limited personnel that you had, you would opt for a larger line. Do you
Now-
think it would have hindered the maneuverability that you thought about?
No, because he's still pulling the other line. I'm just
Oh, so
pulling
you're putting
another.
a second line in
Oh, yeah.
service. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, again, he put a ton of fire out with that
Inch and a half. Yeah.
So,
And that's my general thought process. Is I opt for the maneuverability over the volume. But you're thinking now in hindsight that you
in
might.
hindsight, and again, my game plan for this type of fire has always been my E4 is going to pull a 2-inch and knock it while myself and my E3 start working our way up.
Okay.
That's always been my game plan, but I didn't have that initial game plan for when it was just myself and my E3.
Okay. Well, thank you. Any questions there, Chief? No. Well, okay, thank you all for sharing your stories. Certainly, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to any of these officers. They'll be happy to talk about this event. And coming up on the 24th, so the slide at the beginning said the 21st are challenges in the streets. It said the 21st. It is the 24th. We will put out a corrected or ensure that everybody has the correct date. We will do that sooner than later, but we will be back here again at the training school, and it will be a CPR. What is it? What did we title it? I don't recall. CPR boss. A CPR boss. So until then, thank you. Have a good day.